Hey, what's up, guys? It's Lou from SkyTail Digital here. Appreciate all of you for being with me today. I'll have about 20 to 25 people on our call today. Frank, thanks for joining us. Fermin, thanks for joining. Guys, we'll get started here in just like 2 minutes or so. I'm going to send everybody this link just to make sure that they have it. And then we'll get started ASAP. Frank, welcome to your first webinar. Just talked with you about, what was that, 2 hours ago or so, huh? Appreciate you being here, Frank. Today, we're going to be covering a very important topic. I'll hop into that in just a moment. Let me get this out to everybody on the call. All right, guys. I just went ahead and sent everybody that link for the call. And we're going to get started here in just a moment. Frank, Henry, Oscar, Susan, Mohammed, thanks for being on time here, guys. Definitely appreciate you. We'll get started here in just a moment. We've got a couple more people joining. Appreciate you being here. Eliza, thank you for joining us. Eliza, this is your first webinar, I believe, as well. Let me know if I'm saying your name correctly. I want to make sure I'm addressing you correctly. Appreciate you being here. Just give me a yes if I'm saying it correctly, or let me know if I'm not. Hey, Priyanshu. Thanks for joining me today. Is it Elisa? Perfect. Elisa, thank you so much for joining. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and hop into it right now. We'll have about 20 people on the call today. And if this is your first webinar, Elisa, Frank, guys, thank you so much for joining. Really excited to be here. These webinars are very in-depth. So on these webinars, we will be teaching and showing so many different tactics that we use for our restaurant clients. Hey, Esteban. Hola, mi amigo. Esteban calling in from Mexico City. We're going to be sharing a lot of the techniques and the things that we use for our restaurants, and not only showing you like the technique or the strategy behind them, but actually like what buttons to push, how exactly to do them. So this is very, very thorough webinar, and I'm really excited for you all to be here today. So today, if this is your first webinar, then we are going to be sending you, if you don't already have it, you should have the prior recordings as well. I'd recommend going through all the recordings and looking at all the recordings, watching them, getting up to speed, because every week we're going to be covering new topics. And so today, the topic today is going to be around creatives. Okay. And we'll have some time for questions at the end as well here, guys. The time for questions will be towards the end. And of course, if you have anything urgent, just let me know halfway through as well. All good. Happy to answer some questions as you're going through this here as well. So the topic today is around creatives. And if you are not marketing savvy, what creatives means is like just what photo you're using for your ad, what video you're using for your ad, like what is the content? So what is the creative? Okay. So I'm going to show you 3 different types of creative that I would recommend running when you're doing a promotional offer, some sort of call to action. Okay. And the main lesson here when it comes to creative, and just to tell you a little story, we've learned these things through a lot of trial and error. We've lost maybe millions, definitely hundreds of thousands of dollars by making these errors ourselves. And the great news about that is you don't have to make those errors yourself. So you can skip the trial and error and just know these things before banging your head against the wall, trying to figure out why this stuff's not working, right? A lot of the secrets and the benefits you get from hiring expert help is not only knowing what to do, but it's by knowing what not to do, right? That's one of the most important things as well. So for me in my professional career, I've hired a lot of service providers, a lot of consultants, and through their expertise, was able to learn a lot throughout the years. So just to tell you a story, when we first started advertising, it was many years ago. And one of our first campaigns that I was running myself was doing really well. It's doing really, really well. We're getting a bunch of book calls because for you as a restaurant owner, your goal is to get people through your doors, right? Our goal as marketing companies to get people to book calls with us. Similar thing, right? Get on our calendar. And so we were running a campaign. It was during Thanksgiving many years ago. And the campaign was doing great. We were getting 10, 20 book calls per day. Sales team was closing deals. Everything's great. And I looked at my partner, Mike, and I said, my business partner, Mike, and I was like, dude, we should double the spend. Let's double the spend and let's double down on this success, right? So I turned off the ad, duplicated it, and doubled the spend. I think we were spending like $100 a day, and then we doubled it to $200 a day or whatever. And by spending double on the campaign actually performed worse. Who would have thought, right? And so the mistake that I made was putting all of my eggs in one basket. I turned off that winning ad, and then I launched another ad, which ended up being a loser, right? So the lesson that I learned there was don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you have a winning ad, keep it on, right? You can launch more ads. You can launch more things at the same time. You don't have to do just one thing. If you've got something winning, keep it on. Launch another one. If that second campaign that I would have launched with double the amount of spend was working really well and was getting double the amount of results, then I can go and turn the first one off. But don't put all your eggs in one basket right away, because you'll see what happens. You can lose a lot of money, or at least a lot of you lose a lot of momentum if you do that. So that's kind of like some just a story around this. I'm very passionate about this topic because I think it applies to everything in life as well. I'll give you an example again here, and then I'll actually hop into the real meat and potatoes here. Pun intended. I got a new condo about a year ago. I bought a new condo, and a few weeks in, the sink in the kitchen started smelling kind of weird. And every night around 5 p.m., it just had this really bad sewer smell. Oh, it smelled so bad. And I was like, if this smell is in my condo for the rest of the time I'm here, I don't know if I can even live here. So I called the plumber. I said, hey, plumber, you got to come check this out, see if you can fix this. First plumber couldn't figure out where the smell is coming from. Called another plumber. I said, well, maybe that first plumber, maybe he's just not an expert. Maybe he just doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe he's inexperienced. Called the second plumber. No success. Second plumber didn't know what to do. I'm like, well, geez, called two plumbers, two experts. They don't know what they're doing. The smell is still here. I was like, you know what? Let me just play a numbers game. Let me just play a numbers game. I don't care if it takes me calling 10 plumbers. I'm going to find a plumber that finds the solution to this problem, this smell problem. So I call the third plumber. Third plumber comes through, and within 2 minutes, he fixed the problem. It was very easy. There was something with the P-trap. I don't know. I'm not a plumber, but something with the pipes, and it wasn't connecting to the water or whatever. And he's like, "Oh yeah, this is easy." Boom, connected it. Smell gone. So the lesson of this story, for me at least, was if I would have just settled with one plumber, I would have assumed that, oh, this problem's can't be fixed. This problem's not fixable. There's no solutions to this problem at all. But the law of numbers says if you keep doing things over and over and over again, you might find one that works. You might find one that fits. You might find one that fixes the smell, right? So the lesson here is don't put all of your eggs in one basket. And I'm going to get into these creative examples now. So the creatives I'm going to show you, these are going to be for the ads that you can run, which we have covered in prior webinars. And you have this recording as well. You have this recording here. If you want to access it after the call, it is this recording right here. Geo-targeted ads get customers in 7 days. Okay, so this is if you have not attended that live webinar, I would recommend watching this one first and then applying what I'm going to show you today. So what I'm going to show you today is around creatives. And what creatives means is just like the image or the video in the ad, right? So this right here, this complimentary sandwich, this free appetizer, whatever this is one type of creative, okay? So I'm gonna show you an example. I'm just gonna write this down. Number one, the first creative type, let's just call this standard. Okay, we're just gonna call this standard. The second type of creative we're going to call is native. Okay, it's going to be called native. And the third type is going to be called green screen video. Okay, green screen video, and these are going to be images, and these are going to be images, right? I get a lot of questions from people sometimes saying, hey, Luke, what works the best? What works the best? What's the magic pill? What's the magic secret? And the magic secret is there is no magic secret. The magic secret is you have to test. You have to test because every market, every business is different. So that is the secret, is there are no secrets. You have to test and see what works in your market. Of course, there are some best practices that work better than others, but this is what you want to do with your creatives, okay? So the first type of image we're going to talk about is called a standard image, okay? A standard creative. So in this example, this is just going to be an image, okay? And the image, you want to make sure that this image has the wow factor, okay? So if you see on my screen right here, wow factor, okay? So this image right here may be a little blurry because we're on Zoom and I zoomed in or whatever, but in real life, this is a great image. You see the gravy dripping, it's really bright. You can see the texture of the stuffing and of the jam and of the bread. And it kind of just, you can almost smell this sandwich through the photo, right? When you see this, it looks pretty good, right? So the first thing I would recommend is we just got to make sure that your images have that wow factor. When you see that image, do you go, wow, that thing looks awesome. That thing looks so freaking good. I want to eat that right now, okay? And if you don't think that when looking at your images, the public won't think that either. So it's very important that your images have that wow factor, okay? That's the first thing, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing I'd recommend with the ad here is making sure that your food, right? The food here is covering up the majority of your photos. Yep, majority of your photos. So what I mean by that is, this is actually not that great of an example because there's a lot of like just orange here, but it's a really good performing ad. So we use it as an example. And you want to have your food covering up most of the image, like 80 to 75 to 90% of your image here should just be food. Now, let me show you what not to do. Let me show you just a quick, I think I have a photography guide here. Priyanshu has a question. I'm going to answer it real fast. Can't stay till the end, but definitely will watch it again. Great question. So Priyanshu is asking, we're going to sidetrack to this question that Priyanshu has right now, and then we'll hop back into the webinar. Priyanshu is asking, is a free dessert a good enough offer to attract a consumer in for a takeout burrito joint, similar concept to Chipotle? Priyanshu, the question is maybe. The question is you want to test it, but from my experience, it is not going to get you the best results. You can do it. It might work really well. What a free dessert offer is a really good offer to get people back that second time, right? So what I would recommend, Priyanshu, is the first offer that you run, do it for one of your most popular items. Do it for burrito, right? Do it for a burrito. And when you're doing these offers, don't worry about the cost of goods, right? Don't worry about the cost of goods, because if you do the math on it, if you get loyal customers, if you get regular customers coming in from this as a result, it's going to pay for you giving them a free item a million times over. So for example, if you have one restaurant customer that comes in from this and becomes loyal and regular, right? If you get one customer that comes in that becomes regular and loyal, let's say they visit you twice a month. I know you're a burrito joint, so maybe they spend less than $45 per visit, but just as an example, if they visit you twice a month and spend $45 per visit, they'll spend about $1,000 with you per year, right? Maybe your ticket is less, maybe it's $20. Maybe they spend $500 with you per year. So what I would recommend is don't be penny wise, dollar foolish. Don't be penny wise, dollar foolish. Meaning, if you run an ad that is for something that is not as appealing as maybe one of your burritos, sure, you might give away, a little bit less in cost of goods, but in the grand scheme of things, you're going to acquire way less regular customers because it's just not as exciting of an offer. So I would recommend, you're going to want to test this, but lead with your most popular thing, because your burritos, I'm sure, have that wow factor, right? When people see your burrito, they're going to be like, wow, that thing looks really good, right? And so you want to lead with the burrito offer, but you can make some customization to this, right? You could do a buy one, get one burrito. You could do a free burrito with a purchase of $20 or more. You could do a buy two, get one burrito, right? So those are a couple things you can do. But what I would say, Priyanshu, my simple recommendation is do a buy one, get one. Do a buy one, get one burrito. Don't worry about the cost of it, because if you do the math on it, a burrito might cost you $4 or $5 in cost of goods, right? $4 or $5 in cost of goods, maybe even less. But if you get a regular customer from that, they might spend $1,000 with you per year, $6,000 with you over their lifetime. So don't go small on the offer. It might work for you. I'm not saying it won't work, but you want to lead with a really strong offer to start. You can always give people like offers to get them back in a couple more times, right? We kind of follow the whole John Taffer approach, get people in 2 or 3 times. Then at that point, they should be hooked for life. So maybe use a free dessert to get them in that second or third time. Perfect, Priyanshu. So it's great insight. Math already makes sense to me. There you go. Perfect. Love that. Okay. Let's hop back into the photography here. So let me open up the photography guide. And what you don't want to do with your photos, guys, what you don't want to do with your photos is this right here. So in this image, you can see where it says zoom in, too much table in this photo, right? This image right here, it looks pretty good, but we have to remember we're playing by the algorithm's rules, right? Facebook, Instagram, we're playing by the algorithm rules. And so in this square image, there's too much table. And I call this blank space. There's too much blank space happening here. So what you want to do is you want to zoom in on this photo. And the photo should be if you see my screen, it should be like this. That should be the entire photo, because when people are on their phones, you only have like 1/10 of their attention. You have 10% of their attention. And so when they're scrolling on social media like a zombie, you got to make sure that boom, that thing is really catching their attention. And they realize right away, that's a great appetizer. That's a piece of pizza. So anyway, I get passionate about this stuff, but make sure there's not too much blank space in your photo. You want to make sure it's covering, you got food that's covering up most of the photo and it just pops, just stands out. Okay. So that's kind of what I'd recommend for your image there. So wow factor, I'm going to put here as well. Food covers, let's call it 80% plus of the image. Okay. And there's always exceptions to the rule, guys. Like there's always exceptions to the rule. I'm just kind of telling you in general what I would do. Sometimes you can run an ad with a human being holding a piece of pizza and that thing works really, really well. But in general, you're going to have, you want to have your food covering most of the image. Okay. That's the first thing I'd recommend. That's the very first type of ad I'd recommend. And when you're running your ads, you want to have these, this is really important actually. Make sure these ads, these are in separate ad sets or separate campaigns. That way you make sure that all these images are being shown, because if you run all of these images in just one ad, then Facebook's only going to show a couple different ads to people. So just make sure you break them up into being in separate ad sets or separate campaigns. Okay. So that is the first thing I'd recommend with the standard image. Okay. The next image we're going to talk about is called a native image. All right. A native image. And let me actually show you here a couple examples of this native image here. All right. Give me a moment to pull this up. Show you some of our clients' work here. Okay. So here's actually an example of the standard image that we just talked about. Let me see. Give me a moment. Show you some of the stuff you want to do. Oh, I should add here as well is with this, you want to use a banner, right? The banner needs to be very clear and easy to read, right? It's just, this should say like free appetizer. I'm going to make my text a little smaller here, guys. Okay. So this should say this banner, what I mean by that, this banner right here. So where it says free sandwich, this catches people's attention, right? This can be in a lot of different formats, but just make sure it's nice and easy to read. And that's the best way that you're going to get people's attention there. So let me show you here what I'm talking about. See if I can find this image for you guys eventually, huh? Here's the template. There we go. So this type of image works really well, what we call a quadrant. So you can actually have like 4 of your images in one, works really well. Or something like this, as you can see, there's a quadrant. That works really well. And this also works well, like I talked about, have a nice big banner. Right, have a nice big banner up top here, and then have your food cover most of the photo. Right, that's what you're going to want to get people's attention. Okay, so a couple examples there of these ads. And when you're running these ads in each of these categories, you want to have a few variations, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket, and have a few variations of these as well. So you see how these are all the same type of an ad, but different images, different items. Okay, so I would recommend you're going to want to run like 3 or 4 of these, 3 or 4 images. Okay, that all have these a wow factor, food covers 80% of the image, and the banner is really easy to read. Okay, if you're a fine dining place, maybe you want to say complimentary appetizer, right? Complimentary glass of champagne. Kind of, it just depends on how you brand it. Okay. So I want to move on to the native image. You're going to want to do, between 2 to 4 of these as well. 2 to 4 images. And what this native one is, I'll show you this here. Native means native. Native means it does not look like an ad. Native means it looks like it's, maybe coming from a friend or someone like your friend wrote it, right? So this right here is an example of a native ad. Okay. So as you can see, I'm going to pull this up. See this ad right here, it doesn't look very fancy, right? It doesn't look very like Hollywood. It's pretty simple to make. You can make this in Canva. You can make this in Photoshop. It's literally just putting text on background here. It's super easy. And so I'll explain what you want to put in here, but this is why this works really well, is because different ads resonate with different people. And so this ad works really well because it doesn't always look like an ad. Let me show you another example as well. It's pretty crazy. Primo. Okay, this doesn't always look like an ad, and it just gets people's attention because it's text. We do a lot of these ads for our company too. You might have already seen them. Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find this for you guys. There's a lot of photos here. I think I'll be able to find it on my computer real fast. I just want to show you another example. I'll have it here in just a moment. Here it is. So here's another type of a native ad that just doesn't look like it's Hollywood, doesn't look very fancy, right? It looks like maybe your friend made it or Susie made it, right? But it works. And so, doesn't need to be like sloppy looking, but just simple sometimes works really, really well. So here's an example of that. And so what I would recommend, you want to structure this native ad in 4 different ways. Okay. The first thing you want to do right here at the top here, first thing you want to do at the beginning here is you want to call out your ideal customer. So call out who is going to be your ideal customer. Love acai bowls? Do you love pizza? There's another one in here that says, yeah, right here, love healthy food. So just put the word love and then whatever food you serve. Love burgers, love tacos, whatever, right? That's all you got to say. Okay. Same thing that says here, love hoagies. See? And then tell people what to do. The second thing is you want to tell people what to do, because if you don't tell them what to do, they won't do it. So the first thing you want to do, well, actually, it's the second thing you want to do here, is tell them to visit you. Visit us at Nautical Bowls, and make sure you put your name of your restaurant right here, nice and very easy to read. Visit us at Nautical Bowls. This one says, you got to check out Primo Hoagies in Rockaway and Mawa. Okay. So tell them to visit you. And then next, go into some education. Go into some education because people will be reading this. And that way you can actually get in their heads and make them become a regular. So we are a family owned and serve the highest quality meats and cheeses piled high on our award-winning freshly baked bread. Okay. This is big piece. This is education. Same thing here. Our acai bowls are nutritious and delicious meal any time of the day, whatever the reason, mid-morning fuel, post-workout meal, or a balanced lunch or dinner. Okay, so you want to do some education. And then the fourth thing you want to do is give them a call to action. Click the link to get a free bowl. Click the link, right? You have to say, click the link. Click the link to get a free Hali. Click the link to get a free appetizer. Click the link to get a complimentary dessert. That's really going to help your click rates do really, really well, okay? Let me show you another example from this. And just to show you, I'm not just making this up. This has gone through a lot of trial and error and testing to come up with these techniques. So native image, just make sure you follow the 4 rules, and don't make it look fancy. That's super important. Don't make it look fancy. You can make it look professional, right? This looks pretty professional, looks great, right? This one, I don't think looks very professional, but it works really well. Like, we made this, and this works really, really well because, again, it looks like it's coming from a friend. It's native. So these ads work really nicely. You'll see other big brands like McDonald's and Burger King, they sometimes run ads that look like they were made from, like, just somebody random, and because they're doing that on purpose. Let me show you an example of this as well from Nautical Bulls. So, practicing what we preach, we're running many different ads for them at once, which is what you want to do for yourself as well. And we just had launched the second type of campaign for them, as you see here. Let me go ahead and go to maximum all time. Wait till this loads real fast. So as you can see here, this campaign that we're running for them right here, they've already got, they've been seen by 1.2 million people and have 36,000 people who've joined, 36,000 people who've joined their database, okay, which is really, really great. They've already generated over about $3 million in lifetime revenue from this stuff. So 36,000 opt-ins, and they're getting opt-ins right now for about $1.25, right? $1.25. We're running this ad right here, as you can see. Sometimes my computer wants to load slowly when I'm doing a Zoom call. And as you can see, we're doing this ad for a lot of different locations for them. But the reason I'm bringing this up is, let me go ahead and shut down some of my other programs I got running. The reason I'm bringing this up here is that this new campaign that we're running for them, right? This is getting about leads for about $1.25. Look at this new one, getting leads for about 45 cents. So almost 3 times as good a performance. And those new ads, that's the native ads right here. So both are really good. Both are performing very, very well. You want to just have more than one running at once, okay? So that's a quick tip. Native image, follow those 4 rules. Don't make it look fancy. You're going to want to have it mostly text and small images, okay? So you want to have mostly text in here, and then a couple small images so people can see that it's food, right? Same thing here. All right. That is what I'd recommend doing for the native of images, okay? And then the green screen video. This is a green screen video that can be made with a couple different apps. Let me show you an example of the green screen video first. Then I'll give you some recommendations for it. Let me go ahead and pull this up first. Here's one of them. Okay, let me go ahead and pull this up. Okay. So guys, this is the green screen ad, and I will give you some recommendations. Let me play it first, and we'll go into it.
Do you love healthy food? Then you need to check out Nautical Bowls. Our acai bowls are a delicious and versatile meal any time of the day. Mid-morning snack, post-workout, or lunch and dinner. If this is something you're interested in, then click the link to get a buy one get one free bowl.
Pretty cool, right? So I'm gonna play that again real fast. As you can see, we follow the same script, right? You don't have to recreate the wheel. You don't have to do anything different. Follow the same script that you have on the native ad.
Do you love healthy food? Then you need to check out Nautical Bowls. Our acai bowls are a delicious and versatile meal any time of the day. Mid-morning snack, post-workout, or lunch and dinner. If this is something you're interested in, then click the link to get a buy one get one free bowl.
Cool.
Do you
So
love healthy food?
that's how the green screen ad works. And you can use these green screen ads. You can make these green screen ads in a few different ways. Okay. You can use, let me see the name of the app my team uses. Name of the app is CapCut. Yep, there it is, CapCut. So you can basically just like have this could be you, this could be someone on your team. You can use CapCut, or you can even use TikTok. TikTok has a green screen feature where you can do this type of thing. But what you want is just stand like your background here, stand against a blank wall. Okay. And then you want to have your images behind you. Okay. So like I showed you in the video, you want to scroll through some images, scroll through, maybe like, a handful of images. I'll just say that, handful of images. And then follow the same script as your native ad, right? The four rules. Okay, so you're going to want to call out your person. Hey, do you love hoagies? Hey, do you love pizza? And what you want to do here, as well as when you're calling out people, state your city, right? So, hey, do you love pizza and do you live in Denver? Hey, are you a pizza lover in Denver? Something like that, right? That's how you can call people out. Hey, are you a seafood lover in Miami? Okay, something along those lines. And then same script. You got to come check out blah, 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 blah. Education. As they're scrolling through photos in the background, click the link to get a free appetizer, right? The green screen are really nice because it's a very human touch. It's a very human element to it. Someone from your team is actually speaking to the people who live right around you. And so you can really invite them in a very heartwarming and very meaningful way. So the green screen stuff is pretty simple. Guys, if you don't want to get on camera yourself, if you don't have anybody who can do this on your team, of course, like if you were a part of our Done For You service, we would do it for you. But because you're doing these webinars, definitely recommend do it yourself, or you can actually hire someone on Upwork. I'm going to do optional. You can hire someone on Upwork. And if you don't know about Upwork by now, Upwork is like, time about Upwork, but Upwork is like an Amazon for finding great talent, an Amazon for employees. So you can go on Upwork and just find someone who creates content, pay them 10, 15 bucks an hour. They might make you a couple of videos per month, and you maybe pay them 30 to 50 bucks, and they've got a couple ads. And you could give them some direction on how to do this. So go on Upwork if you need to hire someone to do this green screen video. This stuff's not rocket science. So definitely recommend doing that. Yeah. So guys, that's it. I mean, that's the content for the webinar today. It's all around creatives. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Again, big note here, make sure when you're running these campaigns, you have them in separate ad sets or separate campaigns. Do not run them in the same ad, okay? Because if you run all these images in the same ad, like with Facebook ads, there's 3 levels. There's campaign, ad set, ad. If you run it in the same ad, Facebook's only going to show a couple ads. Like if you run 10 ads, like 10 images in one ad, Facebook's only going to show 2 or 3 images most of the time. So you want to make sure you separate these out in ad sets or separate campaigns. So pretty simple. Guys, at this point in time, I want to open it up for some questions. And I definitely got about 15 minutes left on the call here. So if anybody has any questions, you are free to raise your hand. There's a little raise hand icon here in Zoom. You can raise your hand. I can unmute you. You can talk with me. Or you can just ask a question there in chat, and I can answer in chat. Or you can put in the chat box, "Hey, Luke, I want to talk," and I can unmute you there too if you can't figure out how to raise your hand. All right. So I'll give it a few moments and let any questions come on in. Priyanshu is asking, when we set up the Facebook Messenger chatbot, what are ways we can ensure the customer uses the offer once? Like put a code. Yep, perfect. Yep. Yeah, Priyanshu, there's multiple ways that you can make sure that the customer uses the offer once. So I'll give you a couple options on how you can do that, and you can make your decision on whatever is going to work best in your situation there. So the first way that you can make sure that people only use the offer once is by using in ManyChat. You can use tags. You can use tags and conditions. So basically, when somebody redeems an offer inside of ManyChat, you can have it automatically add a tag to that person saying something like redeemer or something like that, right? So that person can be tagged as a redeemer in the ManyChat CRM. And then what you can do as well is right after someone presses in the ManyChat flow, when someone presses redeem, you want to then put a condition that says something like, does subscriber have the contact tag redeemer? Yes or no, right? And if they do have the contact tag redeemer, that means that they already had redeemed the offer. Then you could have it send them a message that says, oops, you've already redeemed this offer, right? That could go to that message. And if they do not have, it's like a tree, right? If they do not have that tag on them, it continues like normal, right? And so the way that we do this with our clients is we do this in two different ways. But the most popular way that we do it is we use redemption codes, and it's called user input. So inside of ManyChat, you can have a user input. And the way that our redemption codes work is the codes come from the staff. So when someone visits, if a customer visits, they're going to say, hey, I've got this offer for a free appetizer on my phone. What's my code? And the staff says, great, go ahead and type in M123, or go ahead and type in J123. And we train our staff and say, the codes are always the first letter of the month, followed by 1, 2, 3. So it's super easy. Always the first letter of the month, followed by 1, 2, 3. That way the staff always knows what the code is. And the customer then, when they plug in that correct code, as long as that code contains 1, 2, 3, then ManyChat will automatically mark that person as a redeemer. So we kind of use like this secret passcode system where the customer has to type in the passcode that the staff gave them, because only the staff knows that passcode. And then you can accurately track how many people are coming in from that. That's the first way, is you can use redemption codes with the user input and then use conditions and tags to tag that person if they type in the correct code. Okay. The other way to do it, the second way, would be to validate their offer based on a phone number. So this can be done in many ways too. But for example, Toast does this. So if you have Toast, you don't need Toast for this, but I'm just kind of giving a Toast example. If you make an offer, promotion code in Toast, Toast will ask for the phone number to validate it. And then you can type in the person's phone number. You can say, hey, customer, what's your phone number? 555-555-55, right? And then once, if that offer is only used once, if they try to use it again, that same number is inputted into Toast. Toast will say, oops, you've already redeemed this offer. It's not valid. Offer not valid. So you can use another way of doing this as well. You can make like a jot form or a type form where your staff is just asking people for their phone number. Someone comes in, they say, hey, I got this appetizer offer. And then, they say, I want to redeem it. And then your staff could say, great, what's your phone number? 555-5555. And your staff could be like typing in the phone number. You could keep a manual tally on like a Google Sheet. You could build a form. You could build a jot form or like a type form where if this number is entered in the first time, that will it'll work and say valid. And so your staff knows if it says valid, give them the offer. And then you can also build the form function where if it's if the phone number was already entered before and it was entered again, the form could could show an error message that says, oops, this phone number has already redeemed the offer. So there's a couple different ways you could validate it. Kind of depends on your operation, your internal operation of how you want to do that. Happy to give you more insight, Priyanshu. I know it's a very in-depth answer, but let me know if that helps. There's one of two options. You also, there's also other ways you could tell people. Actually, no, those are the two best ways. Yeah, so those are the two best ways. Priyanshu, let me know if that's helpful, and happy to give more insight if needed. Perfect. Awesome, Priyanshu. That's perfect. Elisa is asking about what funnel software do we use to capture the details? Elisa, we use a software called ManyChat. ManyChat, yep. So when someone clicks on your ad, it'll actually open up Facebook Messenger or it'll open up Instagram DM as well. And you can capture the lead in ManyChat. So, you can use website lead captures, but we find it really helpful to use these chatbots because you can collect leads in a really, really quick and easy way. We'll do another training around how to capture leads through websites like ClickFunnels or any other website builder. But yeah, we use ManyChat. So Lisa, if you go into the other trainings that we have, you'll find some more information around like how to set that up. And we'll do more live webinars around that as well, Elisa. We'll do more live webinars around those topics. So we're not just going to cover those topics just once only. We can cover them again and go through them again. But yeah, you'll find that stuff. Long story short answer is it's called ManyChat. Yep. It hooks up to your Facebook page. It's pretty cool. Facebook and Instagram. You're very welcome. Sometimes I find myself getting excited and getting out of breath on these webinars. It's kind of funny, but good stuff. Esteban, Frank, any other questions right now from you guys? Because I'll be sharing this recording with you as well. So all the recordings will live on that Google Sheet. And we'll do this again, same day, same time next week. And we're going to be covering another topic as well. So every week we're going to be covering more and more in-depth things. So definitely excited to go over that next week with you guys as well. Elisa is asking, what offer have we found that worked well in our experience for fine dining restaurants, excluding drinks? Great question. So you could I would recommend doing an appetizer offer, or you could do a dessert offer, or a combination of the two. So you can run an ad that says a complimentary appetizer or dessert on the house, right? Something like that can work really, really well, especially if you're running all three creative types, standard image, native image, and a green screen video. You should have one of those or two at least that work really, really well. So I would say appetizer, dessert, or both. So dessert's probably the least aggressive of that, the least successful. Just because the algorithm, the desserts sometimes don't look as photogenic. It just depends on your items. But yeah, run an ad that says complimentary appetizer. Run an ad that says complimentary appetizer or dessert, like in one ad, appetizer or dessert, and then see how that goes. All right, guys. Got about 5 minutes left here. Elisa, good question. So the ads are running at the same time. So we'd recommend, as we talked about today, you want to run all these at the same time. So this could be 1 campaign, 2 campaigns, and 3 campaigns. And then in each campaign, you want to run, your 3 or 4 images. Your 2 or 3 to 4 images here, and then your 1 to 2 videos. So let me show you what that looks like. So it'd be 3 campaigns because you want to make sure that you can feed the algorithm all these creatives to make sure the creatives are working. And then in each campaign, you've got a couple different images. The amount of the images isn't as important. We want to feed the algorithm enough fuel so it has enough to go off of. Let me show you just an example here. Let's see if I can pull one up. Let's see if I can pull one up here. I use this Primo Hoagies as an example. Awesome. So got a handful of things running for Primo Hoagies. Let me show you just a few of these. So I've got more running for them than usual, but this is going to be like the standard default that you want to go to. So let's look at this native offer. We covered targeting in a different video, but when you're covering your targeting in your ad sets, you want to try to do 2 different types of targeting. One being a 2 to 3 mile radius, or 1 to 3 mile radius, 1 to 2 mile radius, target everybody. And then one a little bit larger radius, 6, 7, 10 kilometers maybe. And then target that with an interest. That'll be covered in a different webinar, but you want to target an interest. You could say fine dining restaurants or something like that, right? These are both the exact same creatives, just different targeting. So in each ad set, as you can see, there's all these 4 different creatives. But as you can see, the Facebook algorithm will only serve 1 or 2 of them to most people. You see these only have like 250 views. These have almost 4,000 views. So these right here are getting all the love. Okay? That's why you want to feed the algorithm enough juice, enough fuel to give it to do what it needs. So there's a handful of images here. And then in the green screen as well, I have a similar setup. The green screen, there's 2 different videos running here. One of them is running with no header, and the other one is running with a header here. Okay. And sometimes human beings aren't always correct. See this one here, the one without the header is doing much better than the one with the header. So sometimes you just got to do, like we said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And so those are the types of campaigns that we're running at the same time. Let me see if I can show you any more. And here's the one that's just like the standard creative. See, there's I recommended you do, between 3 to 4 images. That works just great. Here we have 7, but as you can see, just like one of them is getting most of the action. So this is actually an exception to the rule as well, because before I mentioned you want to have your food covering up most of your image. As you can see, this food is only covering up like maybe a third of the image. But again, it's just a general rule. There's always exceptions to the rule, but this one's really great because there's a human there. And so this really grabs people's attention, and it's a really engaging ad. So anyway, it's a bit subjective when you're doing this stuff, but you'll learn as you do it. At least I gave you a very, very roundabout answer, but long story short, you have 3 campaigns and, call it a couple different creatives per campaign. So that'll give you roughly, 10 to 20 different images you're running, or 10 to 20 different creatives total. Perfect. Awesome. Love that. All right, guys. Well, it is the top of the hour. So thank you so much for your time today. You will be getting the recording of this when it's done. Give me about an hour for the recording to process, and I'll send it your way. And yeah, we'll be talking with you same day and time next week. And I wish you and your restaurant so much success, so many customers that you don't know what to do with. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.